These are just some opinions that we gathered about ODHH. I won't go and read them all intensively, but really any opinions that we got about ODHH were very positive, especially from interpreters, because they are such a good go-to place, especially when it comes to the laws and accommodations. It kind of takes the stress and worry off your shoulders and good referral source, I guess. So there's Krista and Sarah. And then also this was just a comment that we had too about the new deaf director that's just started a couple of weeks ago actually.
Do you have any background on him?
Like his background? All I really know is that he just moved to Madison. He did all of his law school in Madison, but other than that,
One quote that's not on the slide, but I'd like to add is I talked to an educational interpreter, and when we were doing this, and I said, do you ever use ODHH? What is ODHH to you? How do you use it in the educational setting? She's like, what's ODHH? And she's like, well, I know it's in Madison, right? I think they only deal with like court things. I was like, it was just something I only asked one K-12 interpreter, so I didn't ask, a whole bunch. But the one that I talked to, I just found it funny that I was like, do you ever think about using ODHH? Or, something like that. She's like, what's ODHH? Okay. So, now we're going to get into staff and roles at ODHH. One staff member, she specifically works in the southern region of Wisconsin, and then we have some of her roles over here, the HIV/AIDS outreach, as well as the Department of Corrections. So obviously that is more like legal focused. And she will meet with inmates and do assessments of inmates' language and things like that. Yeah. So basically, the regional directors start as DVR counselors. So they are direct service providers until the funding changes. So all of them are labeled as deaf and hard of hearing specialists, but really they are consultants. They will go out and show the best practices and advocate for deaf clients and deaf patients in the community. A lot of times as a director you will deal with advocating for the deaf and hard of hearing members of the community. Okay, Shawnee Thomas is one of the directors of the northern region of Wisconsin. All of the directors have different projects that they're involved in, and her specifically is involved with hospital communication. Nancy is another director that is in the northeastern part of Wisconsin, and her specific project deals with needs of the community and employment. Jennifer is the statewide deaf benefits specialist, and again, like I said, they all have different roles and projects, and hers is more of a direct service provider. She works with individuals between the ages of 18 and 59, and when you contact her, you mostly contact her for Medicare social security, payment, SSI payments, and anything about determining a deaf individual's, disability is also what you would contact Jennifer about.
And then Amber Mullet, who is in the central office, I talked with her on Wednesday about her job, and before this new director was hired, she was serving kind of as an interim in transition to finding a new director. So she kind of wears a bunch of different hats. She works with a variety of programs. She helps out with the WIDA, interpreter development. And as of right now, most of you know her as interpreter, but right now she's actually not interpreting. And then this is all of the staff at the, well not all, but at the central office where most of you know where we're going to go for our WIDA. We have the new director who is Dan Milliken. He is the new deaf director at the central office. We have the human service program coordinator, Melanie Kaplan. The TAP coordinator is Nada. And then we have the interpreter staff support, Chantel Young. And then, so I kind of gotten the inside scoop from Amber about the new deaf director. One thing that she mentioned is kind of the different perspectives that she has seen. So the deaf community is obviously very excited to have a deaf director in the office. Whereas the hard of hearing community almost would prefer a hearing person because they feel as though a deaf director might gear their goals or their ambitions only to just deaf people. One thing that she mentioned in the office is how the environment has changed and how people are starting to ask more questions about American Sign Language and interpreters, what an interpreter role is. Apparently people in the department have started taking up ASL classes outside of work time. And so that's been a really big influence inside of the department. One thing that she mentioned, that of all the offices, the office for the deaf and hard of hearing has had the biggest impact from community members. They seem to have the most people involved in wanting to know how the interview process went, who's going to be hired. And she did make a point to mention to me that Dan was specifically hired from qualifications and not so much the hearing status. So, but who was the most qualified? So that's all. And then we have just have the website up there for you.
Questions? I know you've got the inside scoop on Amber, and I don't know if you got this far, but you said the deaf community is pretty happy about the new director. How does the community view their approach on the multiple communication providing? Like, that they serve everybody, but how does that put
How
them
does the
in
deaf
the-
community do
Yeah.
it?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Sure. How does the deaf community view, because ODHH provides for all deaf and hard of hearing, deaf, blind, hard of hearing, etc. Does that affect their name in the community? In your estimate, with all your research?
From our research, I'm not exactly sure. From the feedback that I got from Amber was that the office had ODHH had a really negative impact on this, from what she had said.
What had her name?
This, the hiring of
The deaf
deaf
director.
director. Let me see exactly what she said,
Okay.
because I want to share that with you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, she said that the attention that was brought to ODHH was negative.
Really?
Yeah. Which I thought was interesting.
I find that interesting.
So,
she elaborate or?
She kind of went into detail about the director, and she said that he's very willing and open to work with, individuals in the department. Um, and she also kind of mentioned, which I thought was, I mean, is a positive outlook from my perspective, because she sees this as an educational opportunity. It's a good way to educate the people in the department as well as other community members.
That's interesting. So what is the top thing you think interpreters need to know about it?